I have been the only one bulking, I am currently the only one cutting, but I thought as a special thank you for helping me, the most bulbous and succulent Jack Hancock there is, reach 100,000 subs, I would give you the only one doing cardio, just 20 minutes of me doing some light cardio. You may be thinking, surely Jack, you can't upload 20 minutes of you just walking. In fact, I'm the only one that's going to do that. Nobody is. You probably thought the video was done there, and you've been bamboozled. I'll actually be the only man answering questions today. But seriously, I appreciate the support you guys have given me that has resulted in me getting this plaque. And it's probably the first time they have had to slap cock on one of these bad boys. Ignore the slightly suspicious Greek yogurt stain. Anyway, I asked you guys what you wanted to know and it seems we are starting off strong. What bussy flavour is your favourite? I haven't had many bussy flavours, but hypothetically speaking, if I had to pick a favourite, it would probably be the same as my taste in women and toast, light skin. What's it like knowing I'm outcutting all Hancocks out of an infinite number of innuendos? I am the only one cutting, nobody is cutting as hard as him. Listen mate, you might be the hardest cutting whatever the hell your name is, but I've made it clear that nobody is cutting as hard as me. Out of an infinite number of alternate versions of myself, I am the most dried, lean and conditioned. What makes you think that is going to be able to outcut me? When will I surpass everyone to become the strongest Hancock? Well, Joseph Hancock, that depends if you truly are the best version of yourself. Because if it was me asking myself that question, I would say it was inevitable that eventually I would surpass every Hancock. But you, I personally can't see it happening. You're past your prime, Joseph, you're almost 30 years old. You might catch the other two Hancocks because they are slackers, but never me. How does it feel to be recognised by Coach Greg as the only one bulking and cutting? Like when he said you were bulking harder than last time. It feels good. Greg Doucette is one of the first guys I used to watch back when I started my fitness journey, and honestly, almost everything that I know about health and fitness is all down to watching his videos. But recently, he has been missing the mark quite a lot. For example, I think Manx Uceda is natural, and he has a great physique for that matter. And his video about my dirty bulk. How do you keep yourself entertained when working out? I want to know what kind of music a bulbous yet lean and conditioned beast like you listens to, or do you just listen to the ambience of grunting, sweating and weight falling to the ground? All those are great, but it depends what I'm doing. So, for example, in this video I'm doing cardio and I will listen to the exact same song on repeat, which is an 8-bit version of Sober by Tool. Now you might be wondering, Jack, why do you listen to the same song? It's because cardio is an NPC activity. So you need to act like an NPC. Plus, if you just keep hearing the same song over and over again, it tricks your body, you don't know how long into the cardio you actually are. Not only that, it helps when there's no lyrics, because in my head I'm telling myself, I'm the only one doing cardio. No one else is doing cardio as hard as me. No one else is doing it with no hands. I'm the only one walking at this treadmill at exactly 2.5 miles an hour on a 15% incline. Will you keep growing your beard out after you cut? No. The only reason I was keeping my beard hair was so my body didn't waste energy trying to regrow it. But now, since I'm trying to be the most shreddiest, the beard will have to go so my body's forced to waste energy growing new hair. Quick math. Why do I have a flat stomach but no abs? So the most likely one is, even though you have a flat stomach, you might not be low enough body fat percent to even see them. Because just because you have a flat stomach doesn't mean you're shredded. The second one could be, maybe you just don't train them. People say you shouldn't train abs at all because you train them through compound lifts, but that is nonsense. You train your biceps through compound lifts, but you're damn sure if you do bicep curls, your arms are going to get bigger than not doing bicep curls. Jack, how many more Hancocks are there out there? And how are you training your Hancock? So officially, there are 5 Hancocks. Jack Hancock, Brandon Hancock, Connor Hancock, Joseph Hancock, and Abigail Hancock. Now, unofficially, there is an unlimited amount of half Hancocks, but just to name one, there's Luke Jubb Hancock. And I also have a half brother that I think the last time I saw him was about 5, and I remember him vaguely stealing a pastry from Greg's, and I haven't seen him since, so he must have been a bad egg. What is your favourite lift to do? Curious to see what the opinion of the only one cutting. Know what? Honestly, it has to be the spider curl, which is probably why my biceps are one of my best body parts. I train spider curl harder than everybody else, and nobody spider curls as hard as me. Who is the strongest Hancock and who has the biggest one? I mean, is the biggest Hancock? Well, all those questions coincidentally have the exact same answer. It's me, Jack Hancock. Not only am I the strongest on every single lift, I am the biggest by pure surface area, lean contractile tissue, and overall mass. Now, who's the tallest Hancock? That's Brandon at 5'10", and the shortest is Connor Hancock at 5'6", and I am right in the middle at 5'8". Where is your evidence that out of an infinite number of alternate reality Jack Hancocks you are cutting and bulking the most and the hardest? There may very well be at least one other alternate reality Jack Hancock bulking harder as we speak. Well, the only reason that an alternate version of myself would be bulking harder than I right now is because currently I am not the only one bulking. I am the only one cutting. But if I was the only one bulking, that is exactly what I would be. And nobody would be doing it harder than me. What is my evidence that I am truly the only one to ever do it? Because I am me, and if I wasn't me, I'd be the one that was doing it all. I think you said you were going to do this, but never did it. You should train neck a few times a week for a month or something. Yes, I did plan on training my neck every day for 30 days just to see the results, but I had to embark on the dirtiest bulk ever, so the results from that training wouldn't really be apparent. Once I am dried, lean and shredded again, I will continue doing 30-day challenges because I really enjoyed them and I saw plenty of results, especially when it came to rear delts. I've been wondering, Jack, where do you get clothes that fit your pure, lean, contractile tissue without breaking? That's an interesting question, Jack Hancock. Well, if you click the link in the description and use code Hancock, not only can you get the same clothing that I wear, you'll be able to get a fat juicy discount off everything on the MyProtein website. They have end of month 60% sale, guys, so act quick. Favorite bulking food and favorite cutting food? Well, honestly, they're both the exact same thing. Any type of Greek yogurt. If you're bulking, make sure it's full fat, and if you're cutting, make sure it's 0% fat. That one difference can add or take away 300 to 400 calories. How long have you been lifting for? Technically, I started lifting January 2018, but very inconsistently at about 1 or 2 days a week, with the odd full month off. If you ask me when I started training consistently, it would be at the very end of 2019 or the start of 2020, so about 3.5 years of consistent training. Opinion on the fall of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. All empires have to go eventually, but I wouldn't even rank the Austro-Hungarian one in my top 10 empires of all time. For context, the top 4 would be the British Empire, the Ottoman Empire, the Byzantine Empire, and the Hancock Caliphate. When do you think you will finish cutting? That is a good question. If I had to give you my best estimate, probably about July, September-ish area. About 5 months from when I started going. How overweight were you as a child and did you get bullied? I was probably at my most overweight compared to my height when I was about 10 or 11 years old in primary school. And I did get bullied a bit, but since I was the biggest kid in the school, it never really ended in much. I'll give you a little Hancock trivia here. So when I went to high school in about year 7 or 8, just before the 6-week summer holidays, my best friend at the time, who was also overweight, bet me that he could lose more weight than I could over the 6 weeks, so I took him up on that challenge. I didn't know much about weight loss, but I knew if I didn't eat, I would lose weight. For about a week, I ate nothing and did 45 minutes on a step machine whilst watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer every day. Goated show, by the way. But this ended up in one day I woke up and all my kidneys and it felt like my internal organs were hurting. I tried to sleep it off, but the pain didn't go away. So I started eating 1 meal a day and some Actimels, which made it stop. But when I came back after the holidays, nobody recognised who I was, and the guy who bet me was actually so pissed off I wasn't friends with him for years. Even back then, I truly was the only one. Where did you get the idea of, I am the only one doing X? It came out of nowhere, but it is damn motivating. And honestly, it started off as a joke. One day, when I started off the most devious bulk ever, I was just in the kitchen eating about, or trying to eat 2,000 calories of oatmeal, and that's a lot of goddamn oatmeal. So I just started telling myself, you're the only one bulking. Nobody else is bulking as hard as me. In fact, you're the only one that's bulking. No one does it like you. And I might have been joking, right? But even just saying it to yourself as a joke over and over in your head, it does actually make it become more of a reality. And when it comes to becoming the best version of yourself, well, let's say hypothetically, in the past, I may have hypothetically done some sort of psychedelic, allegedly, hypothetically, of course, in theory. Part of a simulation. But anyway, after I came back from that journey, I truly felt like I was a different man. It was like I wasn't in my own body. It was like out of the limitless, alternate, hypothetical versions of myself, the best version entered the body of one of the worst versions, and I had to manifest the best version into reality, which is what I did. Who is the best Hancock? Well, that's an easy answer. I am the only Hancock. For hypertrophy training, what rep range and set range do you aim for per session? So it depends, right? If I'm doing a compound movement, I'll try to do 5 sets. The first 2 between 3 to 6 reps, and then I'll drop it by about 20% and get 10 to 15 reps. But if it's for, isolation movements, I only do 3 sets, 1 heavy set between 3 and 6 reps, then I drop the weight by 20% again and do 2 sets, 10 to 15 reps to failure. However, if it's the last exercise of the day for the muscle, so let's say quads, and I do leg extensions, I'll just do an insane drop set to failure, drop it again to failure, drop it again to failure, drop it again. I'd take pretty much every set to failure if I can, apart from the compound. What are the side effects of the only one that was bulking as hard as the Jack Hancock? Well, to be fair, there was a few of them. The main one was my lack of breath. I actually got so bad with breathing that I was watching something and I could hear myself start to snore. It made me lazy. My body couldn't handle as much workload as it did in the past. For example, I started taking, 2 rest days a week instead of just 1 or 0 that I used to take before the bulk. Everyone on YouTube seems to have that point in their training where they've made mistakes they would recommend others to avoid. Do you have any advice for others related to that? When I first started lifting for the first 2 years, I seriously didn't put any effort in at all. Very inconsistent and didn't train nearly hard enough. And I see those as 2 wasted years. If I would have put the same work in that I did in the past 3, my physique would be at a much higher level than it is currently. That's why a lot of the people that you see in the gym every day, they always look the exact same. I've seen people, I'm going to say around 80 to 90% of people never change at the gym. They always look the same. When will we see your bulbous and succulent yet dry and lean father? Well, as soon as I see him, I'll let you guys know. What is the end goal of your physique? Who would it be? Or do you want to compete? Well, there is no real end goal. Who would I want it to be? The actual peak version of myself. But it'll honestly take until I'm about 30 to reach that. And no, I never do want to compete. If you wanted an example, just imagine like a Frank Zane style physique, but naturally achieved. So maybe 5 or 10 kilograms less muscle mass than he had. I am the exact same height as him, allegedly. Can you do a series where you try and learn calisthenics skills? Could be interesting to see someone with your dedication and commitment learn a handstand, for example. Honestly, this was something that I did look into, especially since now I am extremely heavy. All these bodyweight exercises would be the most beneficial to me because they'd be the hardest. And it would be very interesting to see how many more I could do once I'm down about 20 plus kilograms of body weight. But yeah, let me know if that's something you want to see and I'll get onto it. Get the copycat Hancocks, copying the only one that they're cutting. But what if I told you the only copycat Hancock is actually B? I was the one that copied my little brother's. He was the one that first posted his transformation on YouTube and Reddit, and the first one to actually go viral. But just because I am the most successful Hancock does not mean I am the original one. That goes to Connor Hancock. Jack, hypothetically speaking, if you weren't the only one cutting to be as lean and succulent as a slice of bread, who would it be? That is a trick question, because if I wasn't the only one cutting, it would be an alternate version of myself that would be, so it would end up being me regardless. Will you ever be the only one showing a full day of eating? Yes, actually. I do actually have I Am the Only One Cooking in the works right now, where I will go through, how much it costs me to eat my weekly meals, where you will get to see me showing off my culinary expertise firsthand. I think that'll be my title scheme, I'm the only one doing, anything, lifting, training, blah, blah, blah. So anything you guys would like to see, just drop a comment. How lean do you plan to get on your next cut? I mean, this cut, I plan to get to around 10% or so body fat, maybe leaner, we'll see what I'm feeling like, and then slowly lean bulk up. However, if you mean the next cut after this, maybe I'll just get supremely dry, lean and shredded, but who knows, it depends on what I'm feeling. How did the dirty bulk affect your training? It didn't really affect it too much, apart from the fact that I started training bench 4 or 5 days a week, which is part of the reason why my bench shot up so much compared to the other lifts. But it did also make me a lot lazier, so I didn't used to take any rest days before the bulk, but then I had to start taking 1 or 2 a week. My sessions were also cut down significantly in length by about probably 20-25%, and I also cut out cardio completely. Have I ever gone injured and impeded your progress? I currently have a broken collarbone and will be out for a while. Yeah, to answer that question, physically, no, I've never been injured. Seriously, the only thing I've had was a slight bicep injury for a couple of months from doing supinated bent over rows, but that healed within a couple of weeks. However, emotionally, my heart was broken, but that only supplemented my progress. I'm currently cutting, obviously not as hard as you, because only you are really cutting. How do you stop the constant feeling of hunger? I constantly want to eat something, especially after I've just finished my meal. Alright, I'll give you a couple of tips here. So when you're cutting, you want to eat very high protein, high volume meals such as 0% fat Greek yogurt, you know, that kind of thing. And also, try not to salt your food at all, because salt makes you incredibly hungry and thirsty. So like whenever I eat extra salty food, no matter how many calories it is, it could be like 2,000, I could still force myself to eat more. But for example, if I eat an unsalted meal that's 1,000 calories, the chances are I'm going to be full afterwards. What do? I'm 112 kilograms, 170 centimeters and fat, really fat. And I've been going to the gym since October 21st last year. And seriously, I've only lost 9 kilograms. You need help. So that would be 9 kilograms over 5 months, which is actually not too bad of a weight loss. That's actually really good and healthy. But since you're 112 kilograms, you could probably push that to just over 4 kilograms a month healthily. But it would require you to be in a heavier calorie deficit and for you to do more cardio, the chances are. Here's a tip: going to the gym doesn't necessarily burn many calories, but honestly the best bet for you to lose weight is for you to do just honestly walking at about 10 to 15% incline will burn a ton of calories for you, since you are already quite heavy, just like I'm doing in this video. Something easy enough for you to maintain without necessarily exhausting yourself. Can you make a full video of you working out, like showing us the sets and reps as well? Yes, I can, and in fact I'm the only one that's lifting is actually in the works, but that's going to take me a while to make, as I'm only going to try and upload one video every week, or maybe even 2 weeks. Favourite fitness YouTubers? That's a tough one. It's probably Jack Hancock, Brandon Hancock, Connor Hancock, Joseph Hancock, Abigail Hancock, and Luke Hancock Jubb. Weird question, but where do you buy your slip-on shoes you wear? That is honestly the best question anybody has asked me today. I buy those from Primark. I think they used to cost me about £7, but obviously Big Shoe was up the price, they're now about 12. But now you're wondering, Jack, why do you wear slip-on shoes? Well, what if I told you I'm the only Jack Hancock out of an infinite number of alternate versions of myself that does not know how to tie his shoelaces, and will never learn how to tie his shoelaces. If I've lived almost 25 years without needing to tie my shoelaces, why the hell am I going to need it in the rest of my life? What is my ethnicity? What is my ethnicity? Well, I personally identify as a succulent, dried, lean, and conditioned, yet surprisingly bulbous and massive specimen, but officially I'd be white. How do you stay consistent, and how do you stay happy staying consistent? Well, I'm actually probably one of the most inconsistent people you will ever meet in life. But the gym is the only thing I am consistent with, because I enjoy it so much. I can't sleep, I go to the gym. Got nothing else to do, I go to the gym. The gym is basically my life and my job at this point. And without it, I honestly wouldn't be where I am today, and I wouldn't be as happy as I am today. What if somebody bulked harder than me? Well, first of all, I'd have to actually see it to believe it. But if somebody managed to manifest the exact same mindset that I did, and did it better, well then surely I would just become them. What are the best bulking foods for becoming bulbous and succulent? Well, if you wanted to take the exact same path that I did, which I advise nobody to do, I literally ate anything and everything, so every single food that existed is a bulbous bulking food. Did you regret bulking like this at some point? I regret having to get so thick, bulbous and succulent, but I do not regret it, because I became the strongest I have ever been and probably will ever be for the next at least year or so. And like I said many times before, I will be just as dry, lean and conditioned as before I started, whilst being even bigger in about 4 or 5 months. How tall are you? 6.5, 5'8" and 174.5 centimeters to be exact. How is the cut going? The cut is going well. I'm currently, as of this morning, about 95 kilograms, which is slightly ahead of schedule, but you know, I am the only one. How long will it take for you to weigh less than a 5-year-old child? Well, that depends on which 5-year-old child we're talking about. If we're talking about me, I was quite a hefty 5-year-old child, so you know, probably not too long. But let's say the average 5-year-old child is about 25 kilograms. If I wanted to get there, hypothetically speaking, I'd probably get there in about 10 months. Maybe a year of like some pretty hard cutting. Before I bulked, was I main gaining or in a slight surplus? Well, before I bulked, believe it or not, I was actually going to go for a lean bulk of around 1 to 2 kilograms a month max.